So, picture your life in a place where everything you do, what you buy, how you behave, is tracked. The government gives you a score, and the score is a measure of how trustworthy you are as a citizen and determines what you're allowed to do, like ever. Boarding a train, getting a mortgage, all goes back to this score. It's called social credit. It sounds like that show Black Mirror, but it's actually happening in China. So how does that change you? Does it change you? What does your life look like when your every move is watched? The system's eyes are in big data, artificial intelligence, and roughly 200 million surveillance cameras. And that's totally fine with Ouyang Haoyu. She's 21, graduated from a good school with solid grades. She's diligent. She's nice. No surprise, she's a 752. That's her rating with Sesame Credit, a private company working with the government on the algorithms for the social credit system. The scores go from 350 to 950 and are based on habits and behavior. Buy clothes or diapers, it's good. A lot of alcohol, too many video games, not so good. Haoyu's 752 puts her in model citizen range and gets her discounts and privileges, like using a shared bike without a deposit. She likes it. Her friends do too. They all have pretty high scores.
It's a mechanism pushes you to become a better citizen, to build on the trust, especially on the Chinese market.
Because you're not going to be punished if you haven't done anything wrong.
I think that's the point. I think the system is working as a warning or an alert to push people to do it, to be a good person.
And it's mandatory. When it goes national, social credit scores will be assigned to every one of China's citizens for life. And what's weird is that so many people seem okay with it. It's complicated, but China went from extreme poverty to economic giant pretty quickly. A credit history system didn't grow at the same pace, so people would default on loans and get away with it. Add in scandals around fake food, tainted baby milk, counterfeit goods, and what you've got is a big problem with trust. So, in 2014, the Communist Party called for a system to allow the trustworthy to roam everywhere under heaven while making it hard for the discredited to take a single step. The model is a place called Rongcheng. It's in Shandong province. It's orderly. Streets are spotless. Cars slow down, which is unheard of in China. Words like honesty and credibility appear on propaganda posters. Display cases show pictures of Rongcheng's most honored citizens. You start with 1,000 points, and you can print out your report anytime. You lose points for things like jaywalking, littering, tossing cigarette butts, or spreading rumors. Cameras do a lot of the surveillance work, but it's pretty analog too. Like posters that list the ways you can gain or lose points. And each night, local TV shows the surveillance highlights of the day. And then there's Zhou Aini. She's an information collector, a paid enforcer who walks around and writes down deeds about her neighbors. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. Things like this are good deeds, she said. But the farmer overheard swearing and being rude? Yeah, bad deeds. Her quota is 10 a month. She likes the work, thinks the city's better for it. The thing about the social credit system is that there isn't one single system. Not yet. Different places have different rules. So what do you do if you have bad social credit? Well, for one, you talk about it on Weibo, which is like Twitter. There are forums for discredited people to vent and get advice. In Chongqing, we hooked up with Huang Huijun. He had a business until he was sued by a client, and Huang refused to pay 90 grand to settle it. So the court put him on a social credit blacklist, and things got way worse. He explains that being blacklisted means he can't buy airplane or train tickets. When he tries, a message pops up saying he's discredited. By the end of last year, blacklisted people were blocked from booking 23 million flights and 5 million high-speed train trips. And the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job, a loan, a hotel room, or put kids in certain schools. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt. In China, being monitored is nothing new. But algorithmic surveillance makes it possible to collect data to build detailed profiles of people, especially the ones not loyal to the government. Of all the video surveillance cameras on the planet right now, nearly half of them are in China. Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
So we think a lot of camera keep the safety is really good things. A lot of people, we can accept it.
And cameras are getting smarter.
So the information that comes out from my image identifies that I'm female, middle-aged, talks about whether I'm wearing glasses, the shape of my face.
AI is taking them next level. They can do more than just see. They actually understand who they're seeing. So at what point can the technology know too much? Does it already?
In most time, people don't care about it. But if the technology learns too much, for example, cross the red line, it's not very good.
How far off are we from needing to draw those red lines?
It's very hard to say. I think maybe decades, I mean 10 years or 20 years, 15 years, maybe.
That's not very long.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming.
And where does it all go? Hao-yu isn't so bothered. Her Sesame score is high. Life is good and she's used to living most of it online. Soon, her education and medical records and any run-ins with the law will factor into her social credit score. And wherever she goes, someone will follow and ask, who can you trust?
Imagine not being allowed to use an app or enter a bar because of your social credit score. Social credit score, what is that? Fox Business Network's Christina Parts-Navalis takes a look at the new way that some U.S. companies are rating their customers.
Big Brother is always watching. A trend made popular in China is making its way to the United States. Companies like Airbnb, Uber, and even insurers are starting to grade customers based on a social system score.
The Chinese people, the vast majority, do not like it. And the Westerners here in the United States are worried that a similar system is developing here.
According to business magazine Fast Company, consumers receive a score based on social media profiles and behaviors, which can help decide whether you can get a loan or even use certain apps. People have been banned from using mass transit and getting some jobs for having a low score.
The system is parallel to what's going on with the Chinese social system, but not to quite to the umpteenth extent that what's going on in China. But people are nervous, people are on edge, because if you rant and rave or if you act reckless, you may in fact be affected adversely.
The Fast Company report also cites the New York State Department of Financial Services, which says life insurance companies can base premiums on social media posts.
So you basically have to go with the assumption that what you say and do and post online can and could and possibly might be used against you.
Also cited in the report is Airbnb that can disable your account for life for any reason it chooses. Other examples are social media sites that can cut you off completely if you're blocked by too many users.
If you're exposing positive things, then that could benefit you, but the companies tend to hone more in on the negative stuff because they don't want anything negative about them out there.
Fast Company says the most disturbing aspect of the social credit system emerging in the United States is punishments are all levied outside the official justice system. Adding that if current trends hold, it's possible in the future a majority of misdemeanors and even some felonies will be punished not by Washington, D.C., but by Silicon Valley. In New York, Christina Partsinevelos, Fox Business.